Welcome to my channel where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election. You know that since after the February 25, 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, which the international community, international observers, local observers, and several other organizations described as deeply flawed, the international media have not shied away from calling a spade a spade. They have said it the way it is, that the election was deeply flawed. Now, this position of the international media organizations and the international community, especially the media organizations, is giving the Asiwaju Bola Tinubu a serious worry about his acceptability as INEC declared president-elect. So, having seen the situation the way it is, they have to do something about it. And they decided that the best thing they could do is to literally summon representatives of international organizations, international media organizations, to talk to them. It's like teaching them how to do their job. And of course, who they have to go and do that is somebody who is considered a seasoned journalist in Nigeria, Dela Aleke. He's the one that is to teach them their job, to teach them how to report, since they are not reporting it the way it should be. It was Dela Aleke. And that was what they did this week. And I'm bringing it to you, and I'll tell you my own position on that. Because that is very important. Because we cannot continue with one side of the story. We have to hear the whole, all sides of the story. So this is what we're going to deal with now. Why Tinubu summoned international media organizations and try to teach them their job. Try to tell them that they are reporting in favor of Peter Obi of the Labour Party. That what they are saying about Peter Obi and the election is not true. That is what it's all about. Now, before I go into that, if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now, the Tinubu team has gathered international media organizations and talking down on them for giving prominence to Peter Obi after the election, or reporting Peter Obi's side of the story without reporting their own side. And those are the issues that I'm going to discuss now. But first of all, let's go through what they said to those international media organizations. Tinubu team, they have slammed the foreign media organizations, saying that Peter Obi didn't win presidential election. Dela Aleke, special advisor to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the INEC declared president-elect, has slammed foreign media for mischaracterizing the outcome of the February 25 presidential election won by his principal. He said the foreign media depended too much an opinion poll which didn't truly represent Nigeria. Speaking at the interactive session with representatives of international media organizations covering Nigeria in Abuja, INEC stated that Peter Obi of the Labour Party winning Lagos by a light margin doesn't make him winner of the election. You can see he said winning Lagos by a light margin. Of course, many of us have seen different data that show that Peter Obi won with a wide margin. That is clear. Even the PDP from their situation room admitted so. He continued. He said, in the months and weeks leading to the February 25 presidential and national assembly elections, there was series of pre-election analysis, news reports, special features, and even opinion polls from a number of partisan local pollsters. So you want them, the international community, to believe that those opinion polls were done by partisan pollsters. Partisan, which means they must have been done by people who are card-carrying members of Labour Party. And the international media organization that gave victory to the candidate of Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. He said some of the polls were conducted online. Some polls had small samples that were not sufficiently representative of Nigeria's diverse voting population and did not represent the realities of Nigeria's political environment and factors that influence electoral behavior. But there were some other polls that correctly predicted the outcome, that our candidate was headed for victory. So the only correct opinion polls were the ones that predicted that their principal, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, was headed for victory. Those ones they were unbiased. They were clean pollsters. They know their onions in poll starting. Come on. But we know, those who follow the media, we know that the only opinion poll that favored Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was a sponsored opinion poll by them themselves, by the APC themselves. Because if it were not so, when that opinion poll came out, why did they spend millions to put it on the covers of all the newspapers in Nigeria as wrap around? Obi never did anything like that. All the opinion polls were obviously independently done. They were released as news statements. You don't need to sponsor front page cover and pay millions to newspaper houses to show that opinion poll has now favored Tinubu, that he will win. And that was done just a few days to the election. They were not alone. APC was not alone. Even PDP sponsored their own opinion poll that favored them, that Atiku will win. And then the one that Tinubu did to favor Tinubu, that he will win. Because if their own were genuinely done, they don't need to advertise it, put it as a wraparound, and pay millions to newspaper houses to carry it in their front cover. Newspaper houses have to surrender their front cover stories. And you know what it means in the media. So they are the ones that conjured up opinion poll. As far as I know, as far as my understanding of it, those opinion polls were sincere, honest, and unbiased, including the one that was done by the Bloomberg of United States. So let me continue with what they are claiming here. Dela Leke and Tinubu, they are claiming. He said, but there were some other polls that correctly predicted the outcome, that our candidate was headed for victory. Of course, I said that before. Our internal polls also gave us some measure of confidence. With 21 states under our party's control, we did not expect a complete change of electoral behavior like in US, where no one expects a blue state suddenly turning red 100%. with the eventual outcome of the election at variance with some of the Labour Party sponsored pre-election predictions. Many international media organizations, now he's accusing many international media organizations in the presence of their representatives that they were biased. And you think they will take him serious? He said many international, he now said that with the eventual outcome of the election at variance with some of the Labour Party sponsored pre-election predictions, many international media organizations that took premature position on the basis of these flawed polls found themselves blind spotted, leading to some of the skewed report about the election. Look, the international media organization did not report the outcome of the election based on the poll. It is what they saw on ground. Financial Times of London reported seeing ballot boxes being smashed, polling unit being destroyed in Lagos. They saw it. It's not to be based on opinion poll. Well, these people, what can't they? Don't they have an even simple truth in their mouth? Financial Times of London, they have reporters in Lagos. They saw the destruction of election materials, the snatching of the ballot boxes and all that. And you are telling them their report is based on the opinion poll when they were reporting what they saw on the ground. Go and read the editorial of the Financial Times. They made no reference to opinion poll. That was not what they are. They talk about the conduct of the election. What happened on the election day? Then he continues. He said, we object to the mischaracterization of the presidential election by a section of the international media. Mischaracterization. So Tinubu is the one to teach them how to characterize an election that they observed. They don't know how to characterize it. It's Tinubu that will teach them how to characterize an election that they witnessed, that they observed, that the international community observed. Okay, let's continue again. He said, contrary to the innuendos and aspersions being cast on the election by organizations such as Financial Times, Economist, New York Times, among others, we make bold to say that the 2023 presidential election is the most credible, most free, and most fair national election in Nigeria since 1999. I expected them to say since Nigeria was founded by the British, that this election of 2023 is the freest and fairest election ever. Now let's continue. He said the elections into the Senate and House of Representatives were held the same day into the presidential election. They produced an outcome that showed our party winning majority seats in both chambers. None of the presidential candidates assailed the integrity of the National Assembly election. Yes, none of the presidential candidates will assail it because in the National Assembly election, at least, despite all the flaws, they were able to upload the Senate and House of Representative election to the INEC server, or the so-called IREF. They were able to do that. In the case of the presidential election, no states, no beavers, out of the over 176,000 beavers in Nigeria, none of them was functional enough to be able to upload the result of the presidential election. And many Nigerians believe, many international community, reasonable international community organizations believe that by not uploading that presidential election, that was when all the manipulations about the presidential election results took place. And he doesn't have explanation to give to the international journalists that he gathered there. So you want them to say, okay, because the Peter Obi and Atiku, they are not challenging the National Assembly result. At least, despite the force of all those ones, at least they were able to fulfill some of the Electoral Act laws that are key for a free and fair election, they were uploaded to the server. Even though if they were not able to do it on real time, but at least they were able to do that. But even as I'm talking to you right now, days after, many presidential election results have not yet been uploaded to the INEC or server. What does that tell you? It tells you that the presidential election was hugely compromised on election day and thereafter. And they think that he can come and hoodwink international media, international journalists, by telling them, since the same election of the presidential election took place the same day with National Assembly, and they are not challenging National Assembly results, why should they challenge presidential election results? That's an infantile comparison, given what is on ground. Now, continuing, this is what he said. He says, similarly, the presidential election produced expected outcome. That was not the expected outcome. That was not the expected outcome. That was not the expected outcome, bro. That was not the expected outcome. Take note of that. Continuing, he said, Mr. Peter Obi could not have been elected president by winning in South, South, and Southeast and the Middle Belt states of Plateau, Southern Kaduna, Taraba, and Nasarawa. Okay? He needed the core northern votes from the Northeast and Northwest. It is not true. Peter Obi don't need to win the core northern states, Northeast and Northwest, to be declared president. You don't need to do that. In 2011, Jonathan was declared president without winning Northeast and Northwest. So it's a lie from the pit of hell, meant to deceive the international media and international community. It's not true. Go and check the results of 2011 presidential election. Jonathan did not win in the Northeast and Northwest, and he became president. Because to be president, all you need to do is to do well South, South, Southeast, Southwest, and North Central. And then you are home and dry. And then get 25% in Abuja, which Tinubu did not win, and yet they declared him president-elect. Let's continue. He said Peter Obi needed Southwest. Winning Lagos narrowly was not enough to make Mr. Obi president. Winning Lagos narrow. They're always emphasizing on narrowly to remind you how the result of Lagos was made to appear narrow. The victory was made to appear narrow so that they can always use it as an excuse. Thank God that the real results are available in the hands of some Nigerians, which they will tender in the court of law. Continuing, he said, we consider it unfair and quite uncharitable to describe the last election as fraudulent, manipulated, or flawed. So here he is teaching the international community on how the adjective they should use to describe the election. They are not supposed to describe it as fraudulent, because it was not fraudulent. That election, they say that Biva the results will be uploaded real time from polling units to the RF. If they didn't do it, now they did it manually, and they don't want the international community to report that it was fraudulent, that it was manipulated, and that it was flawed. Come on. And he continued, he said, all the noise over results not being uploaded on INEC server was misplaced. So those who demanded that INEC follow its law, its rules and regulation, that the result will be uploaded to the INEC server from the polling unit, they are noisemakers. But that's not what we are told. We are told that this is how it's going to be done. is going to be taken straight from polling unit to the server. That's what we are told. So those who are sticklers to the process, my friend, they are not noisemakers. These are people who believe in due process. They believe in following the rule to the letter. He continued. To further support our view on the credibility of the entire electoral process, we recommended 3 reference materials. Now, what they did now, they now say to convince the international journalists that gathered, they now presented some materials they want them to go and study to see that the election was free and fair. Okay, let us look at the material they recommended. They say they say a well articulated editorial by the Premium Times. When I saw this, I wanted to laugh and fall off the chair. Premium Times. So Premium Times are the one that will give us unbiased report on the election. Premium Times, the same those who have not been following Premium Times and those that the paper supports, that will bring it as a judge to come and talk whether the election was free and fair. Come on. Even the international journalists, they will be laughing at them. They will be laughing at the APC and their leaders. They will be laughing at Asiwaju Bola. They thought that they would just be thinking, oh, these guys think we don't know what we are doing here. We're just a kind of morons representing international media organization. Imagine, Premium Times are the one that will give you unbiased report on the outcome of the election. Come on. Then they now recommended another report that they say they're going to that the international journalists should go and study so that they will be convinced that the election was free and fair. They say the second is the well-informed analysis of the electoral outcome by Professor Ebenezer Obadare, a fellow of Council of Foreign Relations in Washington, D.C. Well, to be frank, I have not gone through that. I have not gone through his the reports. But if the 3 reports, the other 2, because at least I know Premium Times, I don't know this Badre, but I know the 3rd one. This is the 3rd one. They say the 3rd reference material is an opinion piece published in this day newspaper by Mr. Mahmoud Jega, a respected Nigerian syndicated columnist. Come on, I know this Mahmoud Jega. I know him. He used to be editor of Daily Trust. And if you are a Nigerian and you know Daily Trust, then for you to believe what this guy will write as being a fair judgment of the outcome of the election shows how you understand Nigerian media. And to make matters worse, this guy he's talking about was appointed a spokesman of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu a few days to the presidential election. He's one of the spokespersons of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, representing Asiwaju Bola Tinubu on media issues that has to do with northern Nigeria. This is the man they want the international community to go and read his reports, what he wrote in an opinion article in this day, as a true reflection of the election being free and fair. Come on. They should respect some of these international media organizations. They must have read, they must know Mahmoud Jega. And they want to use him to hoodwink them that his report, his column in this day, is enough evidence that the election was free and fair. And I told you, this Mahmoud Jega was appointed special media aide to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu before the election. He's one of his spokespersons in northern Nigeria. That's the person that will give you unbiased. Even the media organization, the international media representatives, if some of them are Nigerian, they will not be laughing at him because they know who Jega is, his interest, his column, and all that. And to make matters worse, as I said, he is an appointee of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. When he was appointed, you can go and Google it. You can just go to your Google now and type in Mahmoud Jega, appointed spokesperson by Tinubu. His details will pop up. This is the guy that wrote the opinion article. that Dela Leke and Tinubu want us to believe that it will tell us the truth that the election was free and fair. They should give Nigeria some. They should respect other people now. At least other people go to school too. They're not the only ones that went to school. Now continue. This is what he said. You are the one. He was now talking to the international media organizations. They are reporters in Abuja. He said, you are the ones on ground. You understand the political environment and nuances better than your organizations in Paris, London, Johannesburg, New York, Beijing, Istanbul, and Tehran. You are in a much vintage position to educate your bosses on how to exercise better editorial judgment on matters relating to Nigeria. Here, Dela Leke and Tinubu, they are trying to teach these people their job, that they are not telling their bosses the real thing happening in Nigeria. So those guys are actually observing what is happening in Nigeria, but they are not relating it well with their bosses. So that's why their bosses are not writing favorable editorial in support of Tinubu, that he won in a landslide, that he is the best thing to happen to Nigeria since sliced bread, that he is the best to have the best politician ever in the history of the black race. They are not doing that because they have not advised their bosses the real situation of things. How loved Asiwaju Bola is in Nigeria, and how he has won the hearts and minds of Nigerians. And the election was free and fair, the freest and fairest election in the history of sub-Saharan Africa. Then he continued. He said, we seek the cooperation of the global media to project our country as the new frontier of economic growth, best destination for foreign investment because of our large market and guaranteed profitability for investors. As a country, we don't need news reports that stoke political tensions and exacerbate crises that can set off unrest and the instability. So obviously, we want the international media to be reporting the untruth. They should not report the truth. That's what he's saying. That's what Tinubu and Alega are advising them. Don't report the truth about Nigeria. We don't want to hear the truth. Report what will favor us only. He said, as we move through this transition period to inauguration on May 29, through the next 4 years, when our party will remain in the saddle of leadership, well, all that depends if the Supreme Court will agree that what happened on February 25 should stand. Okay? Let me continue. He said, we want to appeal to you to make your reports more balanced, accurate, and factual. When they tell you like that, make your report more balanced, more accurate, more factual, and remove the tendency for negative slants in news reporting and analysis. What he's telling them, what Dela Leke and Tinubu were telling them was that they should report positives about Tinubu and not negatives. Okay, they should not, what invariably it means is that they should not report the truth about Nigeria. Okay, that they should report what Tinubu and his team want to be seen reported. Thank God it doesn't work that way. The international media organizations, their embassies know more about this country than even Dela Leke and Tinubu could imagine. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you will be among the first to know. God bless you.